Elton John is the unofficial man of the year. On the cover of Hello, certain to be knighted in a few days by popular demand, he is he not, simply the most tacky, porky, naff, overrated artist since Liberace? I'm Tommy Boyd, today from 2, with a clown's outfit, Dame Edna Everidge's glasses, and Mr. Average's music ability. On Talk Radio, there's a good argument for listening. This is crazy, isn't it? Why is he getting a knighthood and not John Major?
Tommy, you can't...
seriously.
What, John Major? Get a knighthood, behave
He looked
yourself.
after the country for 7 years.
Oh,
What's
get out
Elton
of
John
here.
ever done for you?
Don't be silly, man.
Mind you, he's made a great contribution to football, I'll give him that. He did give us Graham Taylor. So, we're going to assess this podgy little twerp.
That's a terrible thing. You're saying that about St. Elton.
Yeah.
Ground control to Major Tom.
If you really bug me, then I'll say goodbye.
Good morning, you found Talk Radio. The number is free call 0500 1053 89. Free call, the call is free wherever you call from. And however long you're entertaining us and interesting us with what you have to say. We call Talk Radio, but I like to think that in brackets it's Listen Radio. That number again then is free call 0500 1053 89. Between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, Monday to Friday. With me, my name's Tom Boyd. We like to talk about the things that people talk about, the way that people talk about them. This show is, if anything, a gathering of a few friends around a kitchen table with a couple of cups of instant coffee. Maybe somebody wants to have a cigarette, and we don't mind that if they do, although we have views. It may come into the conversation, it may not. And maybe somebody even wants to have a glass of wine, and we don't mind that either. That's cool, as long as they're not driving. It's like that. It really is absolutely like that. Because politicians and royalty talk about things. They talk about their things, their way. And a good deal of broadcasting is given over to talking about the things they set us to talk about and talking about it their way. Sometimes, though, the great and the good are seen to be severely out of touch, tragically distanced from us, people. I nearly said the common man. Okay, the common man, the unwashed, all of us, humanity, that's about 54.5 million of the 55 million who live in the United Kingdom. And here's an example of just how out of touch they can be. They think the politicians and royalty believe that our hero, the man of the year, he who shall be knighted, thanks to the nomination of 10 Downing Street and the grateful agreement of Buckingham Palace, they think our hero is Elton John. They really think that. And yet, you and I know that we have never met a human being who had a nanosecond for the fella. Free call 0500 1053 89. We can talk about any aspect of this you like, because like I said, it's a normal conversation. We can talk about how out of touch politicians and royalty are. We can also talk about this man, this Reg Dwight from Pinner, who's got 2 songs, that's all. One that goes, ya da 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 da, and the other one that goes, ya da 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 da. He's never written a word in his life to speak of. The extremely talented Bernie Taupin, who now owns Los Angeles, wrote all his decent lyrics. He claims that he and Paul McCartney should have a competition to see which of them can write the best song in 60 minutes, because they are the 2 most talented songwriters in the world today. I'd like to know what either of them would do with the remaining 55 minutes. This from a man who claims and is proud to claim that he made 15 million quid from writing that song, The Circle of Life, for the Lion King in the back of a limousine on his way to the recording studio to record it. Free call 0500 1053 89. He's a tragic case. I've never met a fan. I've never met anybody who would part with their 7 and 6, which is what a single cost when he started out 20-odd years ago, 30-odd years ago. I've never met anybody who would part with whatever it is, $13.99 now, for an album which is inevitably a compilation. Because the man hasn't had a hit of his own, on his own back, on his own artistic merits, has he? For decades, not since black and white television. Free call 0500 10 53 89. He has no fans, he has no songs. He's hardly a role model for our youth, is it? We're not going to delve into his background. Everybody makes mistakes. Some of us make big ones. Some of us make several big ones. Others of us make an enormous fortune in the law courts out of our biggest mistakes. Free call 0500 10 53 89. If you saw the Fly on the Wall documentary, where he's in France, and he has an earthquake-size wobbly at his boyfriend because somebody spots them playing tennis and has the audacity to shout, "Yoo-hoo, Elton," through the privet, and so he charters a jet to fly back to Pinner. Well, you would, wouldn't you? I mean, you can't be expected to be subjected to that kind of cruelty from the public. And his clothes, I mean, and his stage show, and just, I don't know, something about the man. The only hit of his I ever really liked was that foot tapper, Mouldy Old Dough. Remember? Free call 0500 10 53 89. He's going to get a knighthood, you see. You're going to have him plastered everywhere on anything you like. I'll lay you anything you like. I'm going to give you 10 to 1 if you want to come and say he's not. You can have 10 to 1, any money you like. Elton John's got a knighthood. So let's get our retaliation in first. The politicians, you see, and royalty honestly believe that he is our man. He's the man of the year. He's on the front cover of Hello. He's going to be knighted. They chose him to sing at the funeral because they believe he represents the people of Britain. And he was the best person to show how much we cared at the funeral. Well, he didn't do a bad job, I suppose. Although I can tell you that in the city, there was a spread book on how soon into the song he would start to cry, which he didn't, and he carried that off pretty well. So there's one small accomplishment there. He didn't cry at the funeral. And his second accomplishment, I say, is his involvement with football. He comes from a footballing family. If only he'd stayed in football. He gave the world one of the most direct club sides in Watford British football has ever seen. And he also found for us a manager who will live in the memory of British football longer than perhaps any manager, with maybe the exception of Alf Ramsey and Matt Busby. And that is the great and thoroughly underestimated Graham Taylor. So Elton John, free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Let's talk to Nigel, who calls from Gloucestershire. You're on Talk Radio. Nigel, good afternoon.
Oh, hello. I agree that Elton John is a complete cretin, as of course most pop stars are, but I'd like to make one particular point, which is that the line "Candle in the Wind" actually comes from a poem by Boris Pasternak, so people shouldn't give Elton John credit for it.
I don't think they ever did give him credit for it, did they, really?
As a
very credit-worthy song.
As a poetic line, it's quite a good image, I suppose.
Yeah.
Vulnerability. Mm. And there's another point too about the Prime Minister. Really,
yes.
He admires every education, as he's always saying, but his infatuation with popular culture is actually in contradistinction to education, because education and popular culture are inimical. And it's about time somebody told the Prime Minister that.
Sorry, did you nearly say inimical?
Inimical.
Inimical? What
does
that mean?
It means that one is hostile to the other.
Really?
Each is hostile to the other, yeah.
Really? Really? I didn't understand a word of that. I don't think anybody else listening did either, but never mind. I bet it felt good saying it. Did you write it down?
No, I talk like this all the time.
Have you got any friends?
It's that bottle of wine you mentioned at the beginning of the programme, you see.
Yes.
Dozens of friends, they're just more articulate than you.
Yes.
Sorry.
I doubt it very much indeed. Well, have a nice Christmas, Nigel.
And to you.
Yes, bye. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I enjoyed his little performance, though. It was good, wasn't it? He'll be the one on the end of University Challenge, won't he? Let's talk to David, who calls from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. David, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Sir.
Very Merry Christmas to you.
And the same to you with knobs on.
I think this man is a totally sad case, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, his recent fame, he climbed on the back of the nation's grief, and and also of Bernie Taupin's skills, and that's the only thing he's done in recent times. And it's about par for the course, I think, that he's going to get knighted. It's a very sad case.
It is. It is. Bald men everywhere must resent Elton John, because the rest of us just go bald with dignity, don't we? Are you there, David? He's away. I'm not saying it's a wig. I think that's probably libelous. But it is an interesting sudden regrowth of hair that Elton has managed to achieve, isn't it? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Dan calls from Kent. You're on Talk Radio. Dan, good afternoon.
Hi, Tommy.
Dan.
I'm a little bit cynical, but this guy's had one number one in his career, I think. Maybe two. I'm not sure the Diana won the second one, but this Diana thing's really boosted his career, hasn't it?
Yes.
And basically, it's what's getting him his knighthood. I mean, if Diana hadn't died, would you be doing this show today? I very much doubt it.
No.
And it may be a bit cynical of me. Well, it probably is, but...
Be cynical. Cynical is good.
Yeah,
cynical.
I mean, he seems to get in on a lot of these things, though, doesn't he, with Freddie Mercury and Diana? And he does, he gets a very good public image for a lot of the charity work he does, but it also sells a lot more records in a couple of months' time when the charity ones are sold out.
It seems to me that there has to be an element of tragedy about you. Shakespeare recognised the value of this, of hubris, of human tragedy for his heroes. If a pop star is going to endure Freddie Mercury and Elton John, I don't know about Paul McCartney, I don't know what's tragic about Paul McCartney. There are those who would say Wings.
Yeah.
It's tragic enough.
Quite, yeah.
And Linda on that album.
And I mean, just talking about Cameron, does he you said that some people thought him, Paul McCartney, the most talented songwriters we've got, but yet, does Elton John actually write his songs? Because I know when they did Candle in the Wind, someone else had to do the lyrics with him, didn't they?
Correct.
So, I really couldn't understand. Maybe Paul McCartney was looking for an easy fight, I don't know. I
don't have much knowledge of popular music, but I do know that he's got just two tunes, it seems to me. You can actually hear sort of Crocodile Rock drifting into, what was that one about? Daniel is travelling tonight on a plane. He's just got the same basic bum under the fast ones, and bum bum under the slow ones. That's
right.
It.
And I mean, I've got a friend, actually, another friend called Daniel, who's actually named after that song.
No! Well, that's ignominious.
And he really hates his mother for that one.
Asher has too. There must be lots of Daniels named after... Good
Fortunately,
Lord.
I'm not one of them.
No, of course you're not, but that is...
Danny Blanchflower, I'm told.
You're named after Danny Blanchflower?
Yeah.
Now there is someone worth being named after.
Well, quite, yeah. I'm very proud of it.
Do you know why Danny Blanchflower is a great human being? I'll tell you.
Was this his team talk in the...
No. He was a great player. And we're back to football again via Elton John. So conversation's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why he's a great man. Because when Eamon Andrews approached him and said, "Tonight, Danny Blanchflower, footballer and bon vivant, this is your life," Danny Blanchflower said, "Oh, no, it isn't, mate." Threw the book over Eamon's shoulder and ran like hell. I've seen the television footage of Danny Blanchflower running down a fire escape. And Eamon after him going, come back, Danny Blanchflower tonight."
100 people in the studio sitting twiddling their thumbs.
He's the only person who has ever said, "No chance, Johnny." So the studio was full of Danny Blanchflower's relatives and people who were going to come on and say, "I can remember when Danny was 9.
Well, if it ever happens to me, I'll do the same thing in honour.
Good
Danny Blanchflower.
Danny, great to talk to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tom.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Elton John will be in the news on January the 1st. This is how far this show is ahead of the agenda. He will be all over the front pages, and he will be the top story all day on January the 1st. And if you mistune your radio, you will hear nothing but Elton John trying to sing. Because it's a funny old voice, isn't it, really? There's something implausible about whatever he's trying to tell you through the song. I don't know what it is. We have to discuss Elton John himself, but also the fact that our politicians, even Tony Blair... When I say even Tony Blair, it's only in May that this man really had his finger on the nation's pulse. How can they have lost it so quickly that come December, they, with the collusion of the royal family, who've always been out of touch, think that he is our hero. He is our man. We don't get it. Nick calls from Worcester. You're on Talk Radio. Nick, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy.
Nick.
I don't want an argument with you because you're too good. But I went to see Elton John last week in concert at the NEC, and it was excellent. Top man.
Top man?
Top man.
Top man doesn't even shop at Top Man.
No, he is. He is absolutely a terrific performer. You go on about it's not his songwriting anyway, is it? It's Bernie Taupin's, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can't give him credit for that anyway.
Exactly.
But,
Thank you. So he doesn't write his songs.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't write his songs, but he is one hell of a performer. Excellent performer.
What do you mean he's one hell of a performer? He sits on a stool.
No, he does a bit more than that.
What?
Well, a bit of dancing and but he is honest. He is a good performer. But you say about the politicians and the royals and all that, they're out of touch anyway, aren't they? I agree with you that he's not that the man of the year. If anyone.
Is anyone? If anyone deserves a knighthood, I say it's John Major. Seriously, before we forget.
What, for being nice?
Yeah.
For being a nice man.
For bringing humanity back to mainstream politics. He did that.
Yeah, well, I'll give you that.
He did that, and I think Tony Blair knows that, and I'm surprised that John Major, as far as we know, we've only been subjected to a brief bit of sort of spin on who's going to get knighthoods, and Elton John is there. He's the one that everyone will notice. But why not one for John Major before we forget the poor man?
Yeah, that's fair enough. But,
thanks for your call.
Yeah, okay, Tom. Cheers. Merry Christmas.
And you, boy.
Cheers, mate.
I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. Talk Radio. Did we do this deliberately? Is this production? Isn't this?
It's a bit of production, yeah.
Pinball Wizard?
Yeah, Pinball Wizard.
Did he do that? We did that one, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what that bloke was saying about he's a great performer, is that the secret of a great performance? You just get up, sing, and if you've got a red top hat, some platform shoes, and a green jacket on, that makes it a great performance.
I don't get it. I didn't get it. I worked with an act called Timmy Mallet for about 4 years, and that seems to me that's what he did. He just wore outrageous clothes, was funny looking, and silly spectacles, and was a bit like that chap Colin in The Fast Show, the sort of office joker. And people thought, wow, we're getting real value for money here. Somebody is performing. I really don't get it.
It's the anti-talent.
The anti-talent?
Yes.
Let's talk to Stuart, who calls from East Sussex. You're on Talk Radio. Stuart, afternoon.
Hello.
Stuart.
I've actually just pulled my 2 albums out of my very old, which I don't use anymore, album sleeve thing, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was a brilliant album, I thought, and Honky Chateau as well.
Well,
personally, I think he's a very good performer.
He's not. He's never put together a halfway decent song in all of his life.
Well, I don't know so much. And what you were saying about, I don't think he does wear a wig, does he? He had a very expensive hair transplant a few years ago.
Oh, right. Where from then? Where did he get that hair from?
Well, I really don't know.
Well, I really don't want to know if that was a transplant.
But I still think he's quite a nice entertainer, and I think I'll still go on listening to his albums as long as they don't...
But the mystery is why, Stuart?
Well...
When there's so much real art in the world, and... it's cheap music, isn't it? And we all know how potent that can be.
Well, I don't know. I think he's a very good performer.
I know you do, but why? We have to go. What we do is we then go down to or up to the next level. Okay, so you like him, but why?
Because I like the way he sings, and I like his music.
What do you like about the way he sings?
I don't know, really. I mean, you either like somebody's singing or you don't.
No, that's not true. This is Talk Radio. Come on, we've got much more intellectual muscle than this. We like Elton John because his voice carries with it what?
Well, I just personally like it, that's all.
What? Actually, the lyrics that Bernie Taupin wrote weren't all that cop, were they, really?
Well, I don't know. I've got them all sort of written out in front of me here inside the sleeve.
Go on, then, read one.
What would you like me to read? There's all sorts. There's Funeral for a Friend, Sweet Painted Lady. That's a good one.
One we've heard of.
One you've heard of?
Yes.
Candle in the Wind. I've got that here. But I think we all know the words to that, don't we?
Read the original words out then. Go on.
Right. Goodbye, Norma Jean.
Yeah.
Though I never knew you at all, you had the grace to hold yourself while those around you crawled. They crawled out of the woodwork and they whispered into your brain. They set you on the treadmill and they made you change your name. You want me to carry on or not?
Well, he changed his name, didn't he? Anyway, carry on, yes, go on.
And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind and never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to have known you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did. It goes on and on.
It does, doesn't it? Be honest.
I suppose it does when you think about it.
We heard from the first caller, you know, that the Candle in the Wind line was stolen from Pasternak, I think he said.
Sure.
Yes. I don't like did as a rhyme either.
Well.
Not very clear. And kid, I don't like kid.
It's a very good album, though, this. Honestly, you should try listening to it sometime.
I have tried listening to Elton John. I've heard too much Elton John for one lifetime alone. I'm not going to listen to any more. Hopeless, really.
Well, I think it's very good.
I prefer some of the new bands. Thanks for your call.
Okay, bye.
Yes, bye. Of course, we aren't we, very loyal? We buy an album and we like it. It's like when you buy a book, you make an effort to like it. When you go to the cinema, you've paid your £7.50, so you do make an effort to like it. A bigger effort than you would make when you watch the film at home on television because you haven't paid for it. I suppose if you bought a couple of Elton John LPs, you're going to feel slightly offended by the idea that, you know, the man is a drink of water. But he is a drink of water, isn't he? So when it comes to football, and he's doing it all over again with Watford, which is fantastic. They are the team of the year, aren't they? They're going to be the first ever to top 100 points in a season. Guaranteed. Why? Thanks to the irresistible combination of Elton John and that other footballing giant, Graham Taylor. Dave calls from South Wales. You're on Talk Radio, Dave.
Hello. Hey, Tommy, I was just thinking, when you're talking about Elton John's hair, about 2 years ago, some little sneaker nicked the end of my horse's tail and it's exactly the same colour. What do you think?
How is your horse?
Well, it's growing back now, but he was quite annoyed about it.
Can your horse play the piano and sing?
Well, it's got a lovely set of teeth.
Yes.
But I've never actually given him a piano.
No.
But it would be quite an original thought, actually. But that hair is exactly the same colour.
Yes. It is a mystery, isn't it?
It is a mystery.
It is a real mystery. We make fun of Bruce Forsyth, don't we?
Well,
and Paul Daniels, he did away with his in the end. And Sean Connery just gets his out of the box. When
Arthur Scargill's chopped his bit off.
Has he?
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen Arthur lately?
Since we're talking about Elton John and Prime Ministers, Tony Blair's going to have a problem with his Barnet fairly soon, isn't he?
Yes. I've noticed, I saw him, he was speaking out in Europe, and I noticed he's brushed it forward.
Yeah, you see, women don't notice men's hairlines, but men do.
We've got an eye for it, haven't we?
We spot it. We flick straight up to the forehead, don't we?
Yeah, there's so many people with their heads shaved off today, isn't there?
Yes.
Everybody. Have you looked around, there's nothing but bald heads everywhere.
I do find it aggressive still.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Hey.
Bless you. Look after that horse.
I will.
Yeah, I know you will. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Are you listening, 10 Downing Street, Buckingham Palace? He's not our hero. John Major is more of a hero to us, even though he got booted out a long distance. He really got booted into touch in May. But he's more of a hero to more of us than Elton. Give John Major the knighthood on January the 1st. Lee calls from Bristol.
He had his shirt hanging at the back of his trousers.
He did. And anyway, I kicked him off at the right station. I don't know, I'd be a lord if they asked me, Lee. Well, I mean, it's good life, isn't it? You go for it.
It's £90 a day, I think, isn't it?
Something like that.
So it can't be bad work if you can get it.
No. Nice to talk to you.
Anyway, Tommy, have a nice new year.
And you, boy.
And it's a fantastic programme.
Talk to you next year.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. Austin calls from London. You're on Talk Radio, Austin.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi.
Your sympathies for John Major are unfounded, really, aren't they? He's going to get a gong. He's going to get something every Prime Minister this century, I think, has, haven't they?
Have they? Have they? I don't know.
As I can remember, I think certainly all the ones in my lifetime, they all get ascended up. It's just the next step for their retirement, isn't it?
Well, hold on. They all tend to get moved to the House of Lords, sure. But I don't know if they all get knighted.
Well, no, they get a lordship instead of a knighthood.
Yes.
If they weren't good enough to go up to the House of Lords, then maybe they'd get a knighthood. He's going to get one, isn't he?
He is, and I think he deserves one, and he's certainly more of a hero to more people than Elton John.
Yes, I'd agree with you. I've not found fault with your argument today, Tommy. Thoroughly enjoying it.
It's very nice to talk to you, Austin. Less of the today.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Another Lee, this time calling from London, is next. You're on Talk Radio. Lee, good afternoon.
Hello, Tommy. Just what you said about Graham Taylor being a football giant.
Absolutely.
I'd just like to say that I agree with everything you're saying about Elton John. I think his music's bland, but I think he's got a lot to answer for Graham Taylor. If Elton John never had Graham Taylor at Watford in the first place, he probably wouldn't have managed England, and England would have been in the last World Cup.
Graham Taylor would at least be remembered because he is the only person outside of Italian football who has given us a system of playing football which has its own name.
Yeah, you're right there, but I don't like watching that sort of football, and I'm sure that all the other listeners don't like watching it unless they're Watford supporters or Northampton supporters.
Who do you support?
I support Tottenham at the moment.
You support Tottenham? You know, I mean, have you seen where Watford are in the second?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
I mean, you know, there's not so much daylight. It's about 3 weeks between them and the rest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but they're in a division where you play that sort of football and get out of it. If you go up into the first division or even the Premier, if you play that sort of football, you come straight back down.
You missed a trick. Alan Sugar should have got Graham Taylor.
I don't think. I think Alan Sugar, if he would have got Graham Taylor, I think he might have been assassinated by now.
What do you know about Christian Gross? Anything?
Not really.
Nothing.
Probably the same as what you do.
You don't know anything about him?
I probably know the same amount about him as what you do.
Well, what do you know about Graham Taylor?
Well, I know the style of football he plays. He's not something that I'd be watching.
But he wins things, doesn't he? He wins things. Christian Gross is... Look, I'm not going to have a football programme here.
No, I know what you're saying. But all I'd like to say is that Elton John...
Yes.
His music is bland, but Graham Taylor is no football giant.
He is, man. He's given us POM. Position of maximum danger, getting the ball into the box any way you can, as often as you can.
So you enjoy watching that football then?
I enjoy winning.
Oh, you enjoy winning, but you don't like watching football?
No, look, who goes to there's out of the 500,000 people who go to watch football on a Saturday, right across Britain, Lee, there's not one person who's there to watch a good game of football. They're all there to watch their team win. Get real.
No, you're wrong.
Get real. Oh, get real.
You have got a point. You have got a point, Tom.
I've never met one person in the stand or on the terraces or the bar.
You are right.
Who said, I'm just here to watch a good game.
No, you are right. Yeah. But obviously, most people want their team to win. But what they'd like to see in the process is that their team play well and win.
No. Even that isn't true.
Yeah, that is true.
They just want to see the ball go in the back of the net 3 or 4 times that afternoon. That's what they want.
Even if you're neutral.
Be real. Look,
if you're neutral, what do you want to see?
All this stuff is fine stuff, Lee, but you're just regurgitating what you read about the game from press hacks who don't actually care about any particular team. That's the problem with German football.
I care about England. I care about England, and when they won in the last World Cup, I wanted to see England in that World Cup.
You read your Sunday papers, and all you read is about all these blokes who couldn't play football anyway, complaining about the fact that some team or another plays direct football as opposed to the beautiful game. But they are not supporters, and supporters just want to see the ball go in the back of the net. They don't care how. Not even your beloved Tottenham. And I know that they're, we've had them on the we talked about Danny Blanchflower earlier on. They have on occasions played beautiful football.
They have done for a good many years.
Yeah, not as beautiful as all that. Get off.
Tommy,
Yes,
I think Lee's got a very good point.
No, he hasn't.
No, he has, because it's not just about seeing... You don't want to go to a game, right, and see your team... battling for 0-0 midfield battle, and then in the 89th minute they score a goal. You want to see that, it's good. You go home with a slight buzz, but you don't. You forget about it next day if they've had a good game.
Exactly.
And it's like words and music. You need the music, but then you got to have the words to bring the music out.
I can tell you two guys know very little about football. Have you ever played? Ash, did you ever play football?
Of course, all my life, man. It's in my blood.
I play
on the pitch. Do you?
Yeah. I used to play at a good level.
Well, what level? What's a good level? We're getting competitive here.
I was a semi-professional.
A semi-professional? Well, who wasn't a semi-professional?
I would have been a professional if it wouldn't have been for my bad ankle.
I would have been a professional, but the trial was cool.
You're really mean now, aren't you?
I would have been a professional if I'd been born a man.
Actually, I'll tell you what, that's probably true.
Yeah, it is, actually.
And I'll tell you what, we'd have played her at the back, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We'd have
beard and all.
Given up the midfield, played Philippa at the back, long ball.
Adams.
I'd have had Lee running onto any bits and pieces that dropped from your head, Ash.
Yeah.
And that's
no, I don't think you would have. I wouldn't have played in that team.
What position do you play?
Centre midfield.
Centre of midfield?
I'll play up front, mate.
Yeah.
I'll slot them in from anywhere.
Right, so are you a Platini, Lee, or are you a Batty?
Well, what do you think after my point I've been making?
Nobody called Lee's a Platini. Come on.
Yeah,
You're a
that's it,
batty, aren't you?
there you
You're a
are.
batty, aren't you? You're a batty.
No.
Yes.
All I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
I do, and I'm grateful for the argument.
I think that you should get a few more callers who will say the same thing. If they support England, Graham Taylor is no football giant. That is all I can say, and I think you're wrong. I think you know you're wrong. I listen to you every day, and I still feel that you wind people up, but you never admit to it, obviously, because that's a programme.
No, Lee.
But, you know,
Anyway,
it's good airplay, I suppose. So
it isn't. Anyway, listen, good luck to Tottenham. We don't need them down there. Good luck.
Okay.
Too good to go down.
Bye, Tom.
Not. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Pete calls from Glasgow. You're on Talk Radio, Pete. Good afternoon.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, yourself.
Well, to be honest, I can actually hear. I think if everybody just takes a second, they can hear the sound of millions of radios being turned off after that little talk about football. Tommy?
Well, it was a lot interesting than you've been so
reckon?
far. You bet.
You reckon?
You bet.
What I was planning to say was, you say that you like these new bands. Really?
Yes.
I bet you're a real embarrassment to your kids. Do you do that dad dancing to Oasis and the Verve and that?
Certainly not, no.
I bet you do.
No, certainly not. No, I couldn't even name you an Oasis tune, to be honest with you.
All right, I thought you were into the new bands.
No.
You said you were.
No, they're not that good, mate.
No, I know.
They're better than Elton John, but that's not saying a lot, is it? I mean, a glass of water's better than a glass of mild and bitter. That's not saying much about your generation.
Killing Rock?
Yeah, absolutely. It's dead and buried, and that's all thanks to 20-somethings like you.
Right, so, yes, never happened. Pete Waterman, or whatever his name was.
Listen, Pete, it was a great broad church rock and pop through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and then you lot came along, and look what you did with it.
Excuse me, Christa Berg.
Yeah, we had
and
some
you say that you're
trash.
a big fan of Leo Sayer.
We had some trash. Leo Sayer's...
You had a lot of trash.
Yeah,
The Carpenters, Shirley Bassey.
Yeah, but it was a key part of the culture. Key part of your culture, you guys, is email.
Email?
Yeah.
Nah.
Internet.
That's hype.
Rock's over, it's finished, it's done, it's cooked, it's dead and buried, and you put the last nail into its coffin, your generation. That's true. Shall I tell you why I like the Rolling Stones? Because when I was young, I used it to annoy my parents, and now that I'm older, I use it to annoy my children.
So you say you were never a music lover, you were just in it for effect.
Well, excuse me, what, the Rolling Stones? Just the greatest rock and roll band? Period.
Right.
Yeah.
Still?
Yes.
You reckon?
No, everyone knows it.
Did you see Stella Street last night?
No, I was watching the Fast Show.
Oh, right.
Weren't you?
Yeah, I did see it, actually.
Yeah, it's good.
Timmy Mallet does look like Colin, actually.
Doesn't he?
He does. I saw that as soon as you mentioned it.
Doesn't he?
So didn't you get on with him?
I love the sketch. Did you see the last sketch about middle class?
Yes.
Oh, is that funny?
That was very good.
The Fast Show's really found it again. It lost it for a couple of episodes, but it's found it. It's fantastic. Listen, good to talk to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
All right, boy, and you.
And you. See you later. Bye.
Telephone number, free call, 0500 10 53 89. Elton John is going to be the news on January the 1st because he's going to be knighted, and there will be all the usual attendant coverage of that fact. But why? Why? Because 10 Downing Street and Buckingham Palace honestly believe he is the people's favourite. He is our hero. And we just need to send the message back loud and clear, this is not so. We kind of tolerate him. We kind of put up with him. We kind of feel sorry for him almost. Bless him, like that. Oh, who doesn't know somebody who's, a family who's got a boy a bit like, who's going to turn into a bit like that, So, he's amongst us, and we look after our own like that. But he's not a hero. And he's not a knighthood. If you want to give a knighthood to somebody who deserves one, give it to John Major. My name's Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Call 0500 1053 89.
We have on the line Bernie calling from Hertfordshire. Welcome to Talk Radio, Bernie.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you? What's your problem with Elton?
Well, everything that I've listed so far.
The bloke is a legend.
Yes, I know, but why?
Why? Because his music is brilliant. His team, the partnership with Bernie Taupin is just spot on.
It isn't.
It is.
It's appalling.
It is brilliant.
The lyrics are leaden, and the music is most unhummable.
It's poetry with classical music. It is brilliant.
Oh, come on. What, rhyming kid with did in Candle in the Wind? Give me a break, Bernie. Give me a break.
Come on, Tom. I mean, you're right with today's music. Today's music's rubbish. Elton John's been around for 30 years.
But why?
And why? Because it's class.
Class? Have you seen how he dresses? You call that class?
Well, have you seen how he dresses lately?
Yeah, exactly. You call that class?
Yes, it's better than the stuff he has been wearing.
Extremely
but the stuff he was wearing in the old days, that brought out the showmanship in him.
Showmanship. There's more to showmanship, sir, than dressing like a clown.
Oh, come on. What about Liberace? He was a showman. Look how he dressed.
My point entirely. My point entirely.
Come on, Tom.
He's the worst we've had since Liberace.
Yeah, Liberace was all right. Not my cup of tea, but he was a showman. He entertained people, and that's what Elton's been doing for 30 years.
Yes, but what about instructing people, elevating people, lifting people? That's art. How dare you talk about poetry in the same breath as Elton John? Poet lifts our spirits and our senses and our intellect. What's Bernie Taupin ever written that's made you think twice?
Have you ever read any of his songs, or he's had books of poetry out? Have you read any of them?
You listen to the words of the songs, and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Bernie Taupin, the failed poet. We're talking about Elton John, the rather tragic rock star.
Oh, right, how can you call him tragic when he's been around 30 years and he's as popular today as he was then?
He's made a fortune out of his personal tragedies.
He hasn't. What do you mean, personal tragedy?
You know more about Elton John than you know about your cousin who lives in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I've got no cousin in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, but you see my point.
I know more. Elton John, you just can't knock him, Tom. Come on. Look at Paul McCartney. He's had a knighthood. Cliff Richard's had a knighthood. Why shouldn't Elton?
Well, I must say, when you lump him together with that kind of company, there's an element of justice about it, but that's assuming you believe that Cliff Richard and Paul McCartney have any talent.
Well, Paul McCartney does, but I don't think Cliff does, but he isn't my cup of tea, but obviously he is people's cups of tea.
Did you ever hear the only song that Paul McCartney wrote by himself?
What was that?
Sea Moon.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? I mean, that's...
No, I don't know. I disagree. It isn't the only record he's wrote on his own.
Written on his own.
What about Flaming Pie? He wrote all of them.
Very memorable. Where did that get to in the chart?
Number one, actually, the album.
Oh, I don't look at the album charts. Nobody bothers with the album charts.
You're on the ropes.
Nobody bothers with the album charts, Bernie.
Of course they do.
Who does? Who reads the album charts?
Well, I think anybody who enjoys music concentrates on the album charts, not the thing.
Rock music.
I mean, look at the Teletubbies. They're number one now. You know, can you listen to the singles chart?
Yeah, the singles chart for all the countries. That's what rock music is all about.
No, Tom, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
No,
absolutely
I'm
wrong.
Sorry.
Horribly wrong. Painfully wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's nice to talk to you.
Hey, by the way, I agree with you about the Rolling Stones. They are the greatest rock and roll band
in the world.
The world.
Nice. Have a Merry Christmas.
And you, Tom.
Nice to cross swords. Bye now. John calls from Cambridgeshire. You're on Talk Radio. John.
Yeah.
Hello.
Tommy, good afternoon to you.
Johnny, good afternoon to you.
What are these people on?
Eh?
What are they on? They can't be fresh air.
No.
And the person responsible for allocating these nighters,
yes,
they should be sat in a room and they should be made to watch that Tantans and Tiara documentary on Elton John.
Fly on the Wall.
To watch it consecutively for at least 6 hours.
Yes.
Then tell me that man
yes,
is worthy of any form of honour.
Absolutely.
I don't buy it at all. No. I agree with you totally, Tommy.
I'm grateful.
You always talk sense. You're a clear thinker.
Common sense, clarity of thought.
You got it. Have yourself a wonderful Christmas, and let's hope that the new year doesn't bring us Elton John with his knighthood.
John, your words will lift me home. Thank you for your call.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Bye now. There, what a wise man, what a knowing man, what an understanding man. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Andy calls from Lancashire. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Tommy. How you doing, mate?
All right, yourself?
Good, fine.
Yes?
This Elton John.
Yes.
You're totally right. The man is a complete buffoon. An absolute idiot.
Isn't he? National embarrassment, really. I mean, what does the rest of the world think of us? What do the Germans think of us? Not that they've got any...
Well, they've no sense of humour anyway. So he would bring some kind of humour to the German people.
Quite possibly. But what about the Americans? What do they think of us?
The Americans love us.
Yes, they do, but I was behind some Americans on the train yesterday, and one of them was reading an article about Elton John, and I heard them joke. I didn't understand the joke, but they were reading out the headline from the article, and it said, Elton John is the real Queen of England.
That's a good point.
See? And they all laughed like that. Now, I don't get any of that, but I got the impression that the Americans are not terribly impressed with either Elton or our apparent hero worship of the man. So he's not good for our national image abroad.
Not at all. I think the Americans think we're a novelty, anyway.
Yeah.
At the best.
They love him out in America, Elton John.
They don't, Ash.
They do. Remember that Central Park gig?
Don't.
That Central Park gig?
They came along to have a look to see if he was for real.
No, they love him, don't they? And it makes sense, really, that
but
they would
like him. That's a nation that gave, you know, Barnum knew that, didn't he? Phileas T. Barnum knew that if you put something odd on stage, people will turn up because they can't believe that they're going to actually see it. That's what it was.
But don't you think that Americans would like Elton John? Can't you see it?
No.
No?
No. No, look at Springsteen, for goodness sake. Springsteen and Leonard Cohen, fantastic.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, you know.
Oh. And the main artist, Tommy, the man who cut through all the bullshit.
Yes.
The main man, Roger Waters, from the Pink Floyd.
Yes.
You've listened to any of his stuff.
He gets your vote.
He's the man.
That's fine.
He deserves a knighthood.
He deserves a knighthood for his contribution to...
His thoughts.
His thoughts?
Yeah. His views.
Yes.
And the way he puts it across.
Yes. What you get...
subtle way.
Shall I tell you now at 10 to 3, shall I tell you my theory about the honours list? Tell me what you think. Because honours lists have to contain honours for a number of people for political service, even though they might be heads of companies, right?
Uh-huh.
Or even journalists, right? What they do is they always give one show business gong to somebody so that will attract all the attention.
Yeah.
And we won't notice all these people being knighted and given CBEs and KBEs, all right? Because they have helped the government get where the government is. So I suppose what we're saying here is, you know, watch out and cherish your thoughts about Elton John on January the 1st, but don't let that detain you. Let your eye drift down the rest of the people who are going to be there with top hats and medals on the day. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's all a show anyway. The whole thing. Isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's all a big show.
What is it with some men who donate 500,000 here to some political party or another?
They've got too much money.
In exchange for being a sir?
Yeah.
What is that? How can that be?
It's all part of the game.
I'd keep the money.
Well.
I'd buy another house.
If you had that kind of money, you wouldn't need it.
Exactly.
Have a great Christmas.
And you, boy.
Okay.
Bye. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let's go to Jerry, who calls from London. You're on Talk Radio. Jerry, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Tommy.
Jerry.
Happy Christmas to you and your listeners. It's a great show.
Thank you.
Don't cut me off. I wanted two points to make re Elton John and Edward Heath.
Oh, yes?
One could say, allegedly, that Elton John has a rather dubious background. Don't cut me off on that, but that's all I'm prepared to say.
I'm with you, and I'm not going to cut you off for saying that. You can say that anywhere you like, mate.
Okay, but I would like to correct you, but Edward Heath is still in the House of Commons. In his own way, he's a political giant in both meanings of the word. I mean, he's still there. I think he's Sir Edward Heath, but he never went up to the House of Lords for some reason, and he's still very, very effective in the House of Commons.
Yes, that's a perfectly good point. We were wondering which Prime Ministers had neither been knighted nor moved on to the House of Lords.
He never moved up. I don't know why. I think he probably thought he was more effective down below than upstairs.
Oh, he still likes the cut and thrust, doesn't he?
Well, I know.
He's still a front bencher in his own eyes, even though he's the wrong side of the aisle.
He's a very respectable chap. He's usually got a very sensible attitude, a very equivocal attitude. I mean, he hasn't got the bias that most of the rest of them have, these politicians.
I thought that he was profound and courageous in his comments during the week after the death of Deng Xiaoping to defend a great deal of the Chinese regime's policies.
Precisely, and he went to Iraq to try and sort things out.
He did.
He's a superb politician.
He is.
I don't know really why he didn't move up, but he didn't. That's one example. That's all I can think of.
Jerry, I'm grateful for your call, and I'd like to return your compliments of the season. Diana calls from the West Midlands. You're on Talk Radio, Diana.
Hi, Tommy.
Hello.
I went to the NEC last week to see Elton John.
Oh, dear.
And he was absolutely brilliant. You just couldn't fault him. And I tell you what, there's a lot of people who would disagree with you because he has a real talent. And he could really play that piano, I tell you. I was sitting 5 rows from the front, and he was absolutely fantastic.
You say all that, Diana, but I know plenty of pianists who are every bit as good as Elton John, if not an awful lot better. I mean, can you name another pianist besides Elton John? Exactly.
Richard Clayderman, who I don't rate at all.
No.
But
Bony fingers.
Pardon?
Bony fingers.
Yes.
Yes.
But Elton John is different. He's got a real talent.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people who disagree with you because that arena was absolutely packed. Absolutely packed solid.
Yeah, but not as packed as this show is, Diana. I've got about 150 times as many people listening to this show as you could get into a week's worth of NECs. So, and the vote on the switchboard is 9-1 in favour of what we're saying here. So, yes.
Well. Well, but it is different, isn't it?
What?
I mean, it's a different thing altogether.
What is?
Well, listening to the radio. I switch on talk radio every day as I'm pottering around the house. I went to see Elton John because he was a good performer and he gave me pleasure and he's a good entertainer.
Lord only knows why, Diana, but I'm glad it happened for you.
Well, me and many thousands of other people.
Well, you know, it's what they say about mystery, isn't it, really? This world is not only mysterious, more mysterious than we know, but more mysterious than we can ever know. Anyway, thanks for your call.
Okay, Tommy.
Nice to talk to you.
Bye.
Okay, having discussed politics between 2 and 3, national politics between 2 and 3, we turn our attention between 3 and 4 to international politics and global relations. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.